It's round 2 of the Women's Six Nations Championship. After a disappointing defeat to Wales last week, today Ireland travelled to France, who impressed in their opening encounter.
What a finish that was! Jugang under the post and over the line. Joyce, what a finish! Oh, that's a fantastic finish. And Wales hit the front. Hannah Jones for the win. Wales have done it. Win. They've beaten Ireland 27-19.
So can Ireland bounce back after their second half collapse last week? The head coach Greg McWilliams has put his faith in the same starting 15. It's an unchanged lineup this afternoon for the game in Toulouse. France making 7 changes after their victory over Italy, and they've never lost to Ireland on home soil. The kick-off at the Stade Ernest-wallon stadium is just over 10 minutes away. Well, France-Ireland is the first of this weekend's fixtures. Coming up later today, it's Wales-Scotland. Then tomorrow, Italy welcome the champions, England. And it's England who are top of the table, but France and Wales both with a bonus point victory in round 1 as well. Ireland, Italy and Scotland still without a point on the board. Well, good afternoon. Welcome to our live Women's Six Nations coverage. Delighted to have your company this afternoon. Joining us to give us their expert analysis, Claire Small and Hannah Tyrrell, two former Ireland internationals. Good afternoon to you both. After the disappointment of last week, what are you hoping, Claire, to see from Ireland today?
I'm hoping that we see that they've worked on a few things over the week. Obviously, we saw that they lost to Wales. They'll have been frustrated with the performance. There were a lot of things they did well. They were very good and had 3 well-worked tries. And their shape in attack and defence was really good, so I want to see them building on that. But there's a few things that they'll also want to cut out of their game. They didn't have much possession, and they gave away a lot of penalties, so I'm hoping to see a better performance from that point of view.
Yeah, and they are up against it this afternoon. France, a very good side. They've won 16 of their 19 Six Nations matches against Ireland.
Yeah, look, France are one of the top sides in the world. You know, they're a pretty big mobile unit that they have, and their forwards are very impactful when they're on the ball. And I think Ireland will have a big job in their hands to, you know, keep those forwards at bay. And a way that they can do that is to hold on to possession of the ball, and something they didn't do last week. So I'm really hoping to see improvements on that. And, you know, maybe we can release that electric backline that we have.
Yeah, let's hope so. Let's hear from the Ireland head coach, Greg McWilliams.
Well, Greg McWilliams, an opportunity to get back on the horse after last week. How's preparation been for this one?
Yeah, preparation's been good. Look, there's a massive challenge ahead of us, but I've got a group of players who are really excited to go out and face it. I mean, that's what this game is. You've got to be ready mentally, you've got to be ready physically. We're going to give it our best against a good French side, against a great French side. But New York, Curla Kayla, you know, like, that's important to us. Like, we've got to have that strength and we've got to have that unity as a group.
We heard this week about the fact that you want teams to respect you, not necessarily to like you. How do you earn the respect of France this afternoon?
By people saying that we're competitive, that we're ready to go hard and play for one another and play for our country. I mean, it's very important for us. So we've got the opportunity and the privilege to represent the people of Ireland and out in the world stage. So as long as this group here get stuck in and give it everything they have, like, I'll always be very proud. I think the people of Ireland should be proud of that.
Well, Greg McWilliams certainly saying the right things, but did he do the right thing this week by not making any changes to his team?
I was quite surprised that there weren't any changes to the team. Obviously, France is a different sort of beast to what Wales were. And I did think we would see a few changes, especially at 9. I thought Catherine Dane might have come in there, just with her experience and the fact she's played against France before. She knows what to expect. I think France are going to be going after Aimee Riley at 9. But we'll see. She might come out and have an unbelievable game. So hopefully she does. You
the same?
Yeah, look, I'd have to agree with that. You know, going to Toulouse, you know, huge French crowd's going to be very daunting. I do think that French back row are going to target Aimee Riley, and I would have thought that we'd go with a little bit of experience there at 9. Also, I think everybody would have liked to seen Bevan Parsons come in. She is the superstar in our team. You know, she has the ability to make things happen, and the back three is a very, very competitive area for Ireland, but Bevan Parsons, she knows where the try line is, she knows how to make things happen, and I think she needs to be in that starting 15.
And Emer Considine keeps her place at 15. And I suppose if Ireland are to be successful today, they're going to need experienced players like her to perform better than she did last week.
Yeah, exactly. I think Emer will have been frustrated with her performance last week. A few things she didn't do overly well, but there's a lot of things that Emer has in her game that are really positive. She fields the ball extremely well. Obviously, a few mistakes that we're seeing here, but her positional play in the backfield is very, very good. I'd like to see her attacking a bit more today. We didn't see much of her attacking ability last weekend, so hopefully we'll see that coming into the game today.
Yeah, I think Emer's going to see a lot of the ball. France kick quite a lot of the time, and I think she's been picked there for her expertise and her positional sense in covering the backfield. She made a few uncharacteristic mistakes last week, and she was on the end of the yellow card for the constant ill discipline of the Ireland team. But yeah, she needs to have a big impact for this team. She's our most experienced player in terms of caps, and she's been a stalwart for so many years that we're looking for a big, big performance today. Yeah,
and if Ireland can get it right up front, they do have an exciting backline which can break through this French defence today.
They do, yeah. We saw it last week with their 3 tries. There's some really lovely rugby, putting the faces together and working the ball both through the back line, which is really exciting, and with their forwards as well, giving some lovely offloads. So, yeah, we want to see the pack really matching up against France.
And the line out obviously to function better this week as well.
Exactly, yeah. With the line out, I suppose it was 83% success. They did do okay with the line out. Obviously, it's the first time with a new pack, new hooker, and there's a lot of things can kind of go wrong in the line out, but yeah, we'll want to see them using it and really getting some go forward ball off it.
Yeah, and their maul defence as well from the opposition line outs is going to have to improve. They had Paul O'Connell in assisting with that this week.
Yeah, look, it was very obvious that, you know, maul defence was something that was needed to be looked at, and Wales continued to target that towards the end of the game, seeing it as an area of strength for themselves. And I'm sure France, reviewing the footage, have realised that that's an area that they can absolutely target. So from what we've heard in camp is that they have looked at maul defence a little bit, and we should hopefully see some improvements. But, you know, you can only, where we saw maul defence being particularly weak was off of lineouts and from penalties that came from. So if we don't give France these penalties, you know, we won't give them as many opportunities to take those lineout mauls. Yeah,
France beat Ireland 56 points to 15 last year. Where are their main strengths going to come from today?
France have strengths throughout their squad. Their pack are big, they're strong, they're physical. Their set piece is generally a real strength of their game, but then their back line is also unbelievable. They've got Sansus coming in at 9, Drian at 10, and the rest of their back line, they can all play ball, they can all score tries. So they are a difficult team to come up against, and they show attacking threat throughout.
Do you expect this to be a difficult afternoon for Ireland? Is it too much to expect them to win today, and is this just seen as an improvement of where they are on their journey at the moment?
Yeah, I think we're not quite at the level capable of beating France. Now, I'd love to see it personally, but I think that France are going to have a little bit too much firepower. And as you said, with Sansus coming in at 9, she's going to be directing the tempo. She loves to play with speed. She loves that offloading game to try and keep defences guessing and keeping them going and getting them tired. So, you know, Ireland are going to be under massive, massive pressure this afternoon. And, you know, I just hope they can put in a performance and put in a huge defensive shift and get that backline the ball. Yeah,
like they did in the opening half against Wales last week, when the backline really did function very, very well. If they can get off to a good start today and get it amongst this French side in front of a very, very loud home crowd as well.
Absolutely, that's what we want to see. We want to see the Irish girls with the ball in their hands. They're dangerous whenever they have that, so if they're able to keep possession and move the ball to their electric wingers and centres as well, it could be a good day for Ireland.
Yeah, and all these players will know today, Hannah, that they've kept their place last week, even though they didn't win, and they will want to try and impress and improve today.
Absolutely. You know, every player within that squad will be disappointed about last weekend's result. and now they have another opportunity to go out and rectify that and show that they've worked on their weaknesses, you know, and have improved. And you always want to be playing against the best teams in the world, and here's an opportunity to stand up and show that and show what you've done.
Absolutely. Hannah, Claire, thank you very much indeed. In a moment we will hear from our commentary team, Oisín Langan and Ciara Griffin. But first we pause for a moment's silence for the people of Ukraine.
It's one of those anthems that gets the opposition up as much as it does the home crowd. France taking on Ireland. They've made 7 changes to the team that beat Italy in Grenoble last week. Coco Landeloff and Laura Touillet make their first starts of this year's TikTok Six Nations. Axiel Berthomeu comes in at flanker, so Ronan Manager moves to number 8. In the backs, Emile Boulard comes in at fullback with Sarah Lee Banet and Melisse Laurens on the wings. Scrum half Laure Sansus also starts this week. It's a fairly deadly looking back line. For Ireland, well, they're unchanged from the 23 that faced the French last week, or faced the Welsh last week at the RDS. Linda Jugang is on relatively familiar turf as she plays her club rugby in France. The prop may have been praised for her try last week, but her work rate was very impressive, making 17 tackles. No Bevan Parsons in the back line, which to many observers is a surprise. Stacey Flood scored her first Six Nations try last week in an impressive display and hopes to pick up where she left off today. On the bench as player of the decade, Jesse Tremelier stays in reserve, while 7-star Chloe Jacquet scored a try off the bench last week. She's an elusive runner. Ulster's Catherine Dane ready when called upon. Hooker Emma Houben scored a try when these two met last season. The player who made the most tackles for Ireland that day is with me today, Ciara Griffin, former Ireland captain. Ciara, how are you feeling about this match?
Yeah, it's going to be a very, very physical game here today, Oisín, and good running rugby. Looking forward to see how it pans out.
Our referee today is Aimee Barrett-Theron, assisted by Clara Monarini and Precious Pisani. Ian Tempest is the TMO. It's a tough task, but just to outline how tough it is, France have won 16 of their 19 games against Ireland in the TikTok Women's Six Nations, including all 9 occasions where they've been the host. France have also kept Ireland below the 10-point mark in 7 of their 9 matches on French soil. Ciara, this is going to be tough, isn't it?
It's going to be a very tough game, Oisín. A lot of the running rugby from France, so the defensive set needs to be strong from Ireland.
Well, I was going to say a knock forward, but unfortunately for Ireland it went backwards rather than forwards. They got a stroke of luck. They'll need a few today. Nicola Friday carrying it into contact, as you'd expect. Her family all coming over to Toulouse from Tullamore. And Ireland tried a kick to the wing. She was never going to be able to get there, Amy Lee Murphy-Crowe, but it was good thinking at the very least. Well, that was Brittany Hogan. Touye making her 9th Six Nations appearance. Only started playing rugby at the age of 18. She's now 25. Also good at judo and illustration. France are so powerful. Touye. And we're already seeing their backline getting ball here. Vernier. Landeloff trying to dig it out. Sansous didn't start last week, has started this week. There's plenty of room out wide, but France have kept it narrow for now. Sansous
close.
Assessing her options. Not overly quick ball, but France look patient. Touye.
Tacklers, east to west, please.
They're gaining hard yards. Now it's Sansous who works that narrow side. Berthemieux. Sansous has a runner waiting. That's Menage. Drouin.
Excellent tackle, Niamh Jones.
Concentration key at this moment. Vernier trying to bounce around as Berthemieux somehow kept France going forward. Sansous.
No.
It's a good take. Landeloff. Philippon was there in support. Sansous tries the boot, takes a clip off an Irish hand and bounces kindly for Ireland.
Strong defensive set there for Ireland, driving the French back.
Jugang. Riley. Riley trying to get quicker ball. Ireland haven't rolled away. It's another penalty. The penalty count was large last week, Ireland conceding 14 in all. It really did cost them in the end. They'll hope it won't cost them here. They'll hope it won't cost them overall today.
Excellent work there by Gail Hermé over that ball. Really low body position, strong over the ball. Really picked her moment. A real kind of turning point for this French team.
That was a big hit from Berthemieux.
You see the strength of that back row already, how influential they've been already in the first 3 minutes. Both three have had very strong involvements.
Feeling good, team.
Drouin, an Olympic silver medalist in Tokyo. Scored 2 penalties and 2 conversions last weekend. Drouin, who's one of the best in the world, and you can see why. France take an early lead. How do Ireland respond to this, Ciara?
I believe just kick the ball deep from kick-off, forcing that green wall and forcing the French to play out their attack, or else kick it back. At least then you can run it back towards that French defence.
Nicole Cronin. Well, as you suggested, it has gone deep. And it's returned with a bit of interest. Riley. It was an awkward enough take because it was an awkward enough bounce. Trying to crash through there is Hogan. Riley. Ball carrier gets swallowed up. Riley tries to get it going quickly. She does. Friday carrying again the captain, Riley. Flood with a stab through. Ireland chase up, but France look comfortable. Jones. Another fine tackle from Jones. She started well, the Ulster player. Flood. That's not what she was looking for. It's out on the full, and France will have a line out inside the Irish territory.
Unforced error there just from Stacey Flood. Sansus, good box kick down the wing. Just need to settle there, take extra time in the clearance.
France looking to open a TikTok Six Nations campaign with back-to-back wins for the first time since 2018.
10, please.
Really good tackle efficiency from the French.
Ireland catch a break. Riley
Stay.
has Crone waiting as an out. Instead it goes to Friday. Riley trying to weave her way through his Dorothy Wall. Now it's O'Dwyer. Riley. Jungang. Doesn't progress too far, but it's still on the Irish side. Cronin. That's risky enough, and Emer Considine has to sweep in and does get it in hand. That's a good piece of play from Considine. Got a yellow card last week. It did cost Ireland. That'll be a bit of a confidence booster. The ball is bounced kindly. Riley getting up on top there of Boulard.
Darling, gonna play on the ground.
Again, unnecessary get out of jail for France there. We need to keep our feet in those positions, allow the player to stand.
Time off.
Sometimes
Okay,
you can
thanks,
be
Ian.
over eager, and I think that was the situation there. Just went off her feet, kind of flopped down on the player when there was no need to do it.
Just off your feet at the breakdown. You're painting that picture for the ref straight away. You have to at least chop your feet, give it, hold your own weight.
It's only Riley's second Six Nations cap.
Really strong tackle by Banny there on Stacey Flood.
Okay.
Stacey Flood will try and drive on.
Okay, let's go. Water off, please. Water off. Thank you. Medic.
Drouin.
Put time back on. Diving on a player. Okay, I'll hold them. Pressure, stand in front of her. Gail, can you give the numbers in English or show them with fingers? Okay, good, Precious.
Kier. That's well taken.
Sorry, that she's through.
Ireland struggled against the French maul last week.
Great work by Jugang there, going through the middle.
Stay.
I should say against the Welsh maul last week.
Your tackler.
Sansus.
That's
Drouin.
taken back.
It's an up and under. Ireland need to be careful here.
Back by
Considine.
blue. Lay on. Back by blue.
Well, the referee says it was a blue hand that knocked it backwards. Trying to make her way forward now is Mulhall. She did well. Riley, that's a really good piece of work by Riley. Needed support, which wasn't there.
Ball's available.
Riley wants to take it out. I think Riley is shouting at the referee that the
Easy,
French
please,
player
thanks,
isn't
man.
rolling away, and the referee agrees. A penalty for
thank
Ireland
you.
and a chance to get some territory and get into a good position.
Tackle
That's
Riley.
really good play.
Really good work there by Aimee Riley, forcing that, using the vocals for the ref. We heard Aimee at the start saying for rolling away east to west. It obviously is an area that she identified from both games from round one.
That is good. Well, I was going to say to hear or to see, but that is good to hear from your scrum half, especially someone who's only 21 and only making their second appearance in this competition, to actually be sensible enough to say that to the referee.
Completely, yeah. You want to be vocal, you want to be respectful at the same time. So it's essential that you find your voice.
It's a fine balance, and I'm sure it's something captains work on an awful lot.
Exactly.
What can Ireland do from here? Jones. Oh, it slips through. Looked to me like a French player is being held off the ball there, but the referee allows play to continue. Here's Eve Higgins. Higgins is in! It's a brilliant start for Ireland. Higgins scores her first Six Nations try, and it's a big one.
Yeah, I think she pulls her back a little bit, eh?
Maybe. I think we're going to go to the TMO, and I think it's going to be chalked off.
It appears to be a bit of obstruction at the back of that line out. I believe Aimee will be going to the TMO. You just watch.
Ian Tempest is our TMO. Yeah, I don't think I'm tempting or tempesting fate by saying that will not be given.
No, unfortunately not. You need that discipline to back that line out no matter what.
So my own feel this isn't as a try, but what I can see on that replay is that the Irish player clearly pulls back on the French player, which means she can't get to the ball. It opens up the gap.
Again, another necessary error. You need to, Ireland really need to watch that discipline.
Okay, I'm happy that there's enough in that to penalise her.
Dorothy Wall.
You happy?
We're looking at the left hand, Aimee, here.
It's fairly conclusive, isn't it, Dorothy Wall?
Yes.
Pulling the
Yes, 10-5,
French player back.
No try.
It's in those
So the player
situations
pulled
where you
back.
actually need to use your body as a shield.
Correct, I agree,
Back
yeah.
of that line out.
Yeah, agree, mate.
Just to block that runner.
Thank you. No try.
Well, Eve Higgins is going to have to wait for her first Six Nations try. She thought she had got it there, but it wasn't to be. But
Over the back of
talk
the line
about
out,
spinning
your
a positive
player
from a
clearly
negative.
pulled
At
the
least
French player
Ireland
back. I think she
have
had a
shown
good
that
chance
maybe
of
they've
getting
got
to the
something
ball,
in the
so we
back
have to
line,
bring
and
it
maybe
back
they
forward.
can do something if they get into that French 22.
Exactly. Look, hopefully to show what is to come in this game.
Playing a player without the ball. Yep, you good there.
France have been, their last two lineouts have been using their front pod as that main jumper to set down that quick maul. We'd wonder if they do the same here, running off the back.
So adjust. Down.
It's a good take by Menage.
Whoa. And it's over.
And the box kick follows. Ireland racing back. Was that knocked on? The crowd seemed to think so. Referee happy to play on. Lucy Mulhall may just about have got away with it. It spills.
Sorry guys, I was dodging players here. Knock on here.
Excellent box kick from Sansus in the back of that maul. You can see Linda Zhang really making work of that ball.
Here we go,
She's
okay.
really strong and fishing through the middle, putting pressure on that back ball, forcing the box kick, but which turned out to be quite good here from Sansus.
An uncharacteristic mistake from Lucy Mulhall. But you can understand players making them in such an atmosphere. This is a cauldron.
Completely. The French crowd it adds a different element to any game.
So can you set higher for me? Okay. And can you
Grenoble, there was a
bind on the
great
side of the
atmosphere
back, not the
last
shoulder?
weekend for the France-Italy game. It was the same in Toulouse this week.
Yes. Come to the left, please.
Both teams last week had a 100% success rate on their own scrum. So we'll see France will be looking to bring that again to this game. So you'll identify that Ireland gave away 2 penalties on the opposition scrum, so you'd wonder we'll be using that to their advantage today.
Crouch. Bind.
Sansus on home ground. She plays for Toulouse. Sansus. France will play it. Drouin has support. Philippon. This is brilliant from France. Lorenz, she's going for the corner and she gets there. That's a really, really good finish from Melisson Laurens. It's her Six Nations debut. It's quite the way to make your debut.
She remembered that one, that's for sure. Excellent set piece there from France. Really patient at the back, forcing that penalty. Aimee Barrett-Theron allowing the advantage to ensue, allowing France to get that try in the corner.
Sansu making the decision to go.
Yeah.
Got Drouin involved.
Perfect. I was more than happy, lad. They just weren't close
And the
enough
way
to
she
force
kind of
anything.
weaved her run there, Drouin, it drew in 2 defenders and created a bit of space, but still a lot of work to do for Laurens. Considine did her best to stop her, but just couldn't.
Thank you.
Excellent finish and fight through contact. it's not an easy feat stretching out like that with an attacker coming across.
She's only 19, and I was going to say she's got a big future ahead of her, but her future is now. If you're scoring tries in the Six Nations, Theron, she's unlucky. Now, last year against France, I appreciate that there's a whole lot of change in both teams. The game got away early. Ireland have to stop that from happening now, don't they?
They do completely. It's to, I suppose, still focus on your own game plan rather than becoming reactive to what the French are doing. That comes from your defensive set as well. You stick to your defensive policies and really kind of put an impact on this game.
Nicole Cronin. France return it. That's a good take from Riley. Driving on, Brittany Hogan. Riley, it's knocked on again. It's another handling error for Ireland. The referee playing advantage. Aimee went into contact. Sansu. Theron just evades Considine. She's going to have to be careful here.
Stay here.
She clears her lines. I think she did about all she could do there, Considine.
Excellent, good patience there by Aimee Considine. Was quite patient on the ball, took her option, and was quite settled in her clearance.
She allowed it to beat her as well, didn't she? She knew exactly what she was doing.
Two steps, thank you.
That's well taken by foul. France try and break away. Oof, they were unlucky. The attempted offload out of the tackle didn't quite work out.
Fine. Inside. Yeah. Inside.
Ireland put really good pressure on that maul, forcing Aimee to splinter off, to go on her own, forcing that turnover.
Jones arrived first to attack at defending breakdowns more than any other Irish player last weekend. That's a really good take by Monaghan, but
it's on the outside shoulder. Excuse her.
Not straight into the line out there, so giving France good attacking platform here inside Irish 22. Not surprised they'll go for another scrum here. We saw the good change they got after our last scrum in this position.
Time off, we got the 8 down.
And Brittany Hogan is receiving some treatment there. Let's hope she's okay. This is far easier to say than it is to do, but if Ireland can cut out the mistakes, they'll give themselves some chance.
Completely. It's just the unforced error is just giving possession back to the French when Ireland are building momentum. So if they can knock out those unforced errors, it will give more of a foothold in this game.
Under pressure, we'll get the numbers for you.
Yeah, that's okay. Thanks very much.
Young and old have come to Toulouse today for this match. Just reading some of the French material in the build-up, they were trying to create a kind of an atmosphere here and drum things up. Now, granted, I was reading those through Google Translate, but I think that's what they were trying to do. It certainly makes sense when you look at the crowd and just listen to what's going on.
Completely. The French support is always a different level, and they're very proud of their home venues.
Here's Nicola Friday's dad.
It'll still be 8 versus 7.
And there is the Irish coaching ticket.
Okay, yeah.
So we resume with the scrum. This stoppage may not necessarily have done Ireland any harm, Ciara.
No, exactly. It breaks the French momentum. The French are on the front foot there. So it gives it time to reset and refocus.
Crouch. Bind. Set.
Sansu getting ready to feed. France so powerful in that pack. Controlling it is Menage.
Excellent control at the back. Again, forcing that penalty.
Here's Sansus. Duran on her shoulder. She'll go herself.
Backline offside.
They'll try and go wide again. Philippon. Excellent offload running off her shoulder. Berthemieux. Now it's Hermé. Sansu. Lots of options. Left and right. Foul. So powerful. Loses the ball. Regathers it. Referee says it's okay. Sansu. Driven forward for Lani. Yeah, she's another effective ball carrier.
Two of you are bind on there. We can't play that. You've got 2 penalties. You've got one for the backline offside. You've got the scrum penalty. One's just a little bit further in front. Hey, Precious. Here. Do you want this one or do you want that one?
Will they kick it or run it?
Pulse. Okay.
Well, there's your answer.
Offside.
They'll take the kick.
Pulse.
Ireland there giving away 2 penalties after 1 set piece. They need to really work on their discipline. You don't want to give that picture to the ref early on in this game. Good cover tackle by Aimee Riley there on Sansus.
Gail. Yeah. When your scrum is going forward, be careful not to join.
Well,
Yeah.
it's all right.
It's okay.
Duran, who was unlucky to miss the conversion of the try. I can't see her missing this.
No, arms down.
And she doesn't. France extend their lead, but it could have been worse.
It could have, exactly. So what's interesting is France are opting to take the points here rather than go for the line out. Obviously they've seen the last 2 mauls. Ireland's done quite a good job at disrupting any front foot ball. So obviously opting the side of caution.
Nicole Cronin to restart things. France do the same every time they receive, then they kick long. Considine, Riley, helped on by Hogan. Wide it goes from Mulhall. Higgins, stolen back by Menage. Well, it wasn't stolen, it was gifted. France go with the box kick. And I think it may have gone out on the full. It did. Ireland getting a little bit of luck.
A rare unforced error from Sansus in that box kick.
Thank you.
Good tracking back by Menage.
Sorry, medic.
Menage, who scored a try last year against Ireland that was nominated for the World Rugby Try of the Year. It was not one I want to remind you of because you were on the pitch at the time, but it was a good try. Sometimes you just have to say, you know what, it was good.
It's hard to forget them.
Cronin couldn't get there. Brave stuff from Touré. Everyone looks so comfortable handling the ball from the French point of view, don't they?
Oh, their skill set is a very high level in both sets, in both forwards and backs. As I said before, everyone can be a playmaker in that French team.
Mulhall keeps it alive.
Keep going.
And again, nothing else on, so all she could do was kick it clear. It was the right option. It was the sensible option.
Good.
An unfortunate overture there by Ireland, but it's really important at the back of that line out that you are observant for any overthrows. You want to dive in those scraps. You don't want to hand over possession that easily.
Awesome. Next team. Number 10, please.
Well taken by Menage. Her twin sister, also a France international. Breaking away Sansus. Trying to weave her way through his Venier. Sansus. Back inside to Forliani. Sansus. France trying to move it so quickly. Here's Philippon. Philippon with a break. She's got runners off the shoulder. They're in again. It's Boulard, but it was a great covering tackle by Amy Lee Murphy-Crowe.
No, that's gone backwards.
The danger not gone yet. France have knocked it on, but they did have a penalty coming. The referee was playing advantage.
Good scramble defence there by Ireland. Really strong by Aimee Murphy-Crowe.
I have to say, I thought Boulard was away. What a break this was from Philippon. Well, maybe she should have gone out wide.
The skill here by Aimee Lee just to tackle, bounce to her feet, to disrupt. It just forces the French to put more into the breakdown.
Yeah, time back on. Same as the prep.
We'd envision here France wanted to keep this ball in, forcing another scrum penalty.
Come on up. You okay?
Early push, just in
Okay.
for legs.
Okay.
Allez blanc, on est dominante, on le reste, allez. Ensemble.
Let's go, Linda. Come on now, Linda. Nice and low. Set that high. Set that high.
Crouch. Bind.
Stay low. Stay low.
Sansu.
Reset.
Might have to go again.
Let's go,
Yeah, that's the same information I got. Set higher.
Against Italy last week, the scoreline would suggest that France dominated start to finish. They really didn't, but towards the end they pulled away.
Completely, you can see France at the start did a lot of unforced errors. I'm sure it's something we want to rectify in this game.
Crouch. Bind.
Let's go, Katie.
Set.
Irish players giving each other encouragement. Sansu feeds. Menage controlling it with the feet. It goes a little bit loose, so Sansu grabs it. She's going to try and get in herself, and she does! Her 5th try in the TikTok Six Nations. It was a very clever one as well, wasn't it?
Well worked. She knew she had advantage from that scrum penalty. Saw the line. They're going to take all their chances that close.
Could Ireland have done better defensively?
Watch the work of Birchamy there, using her body just as a shield to give Sansu that extra bit of clearance from the back row. Really clever use from a blind side.
Thanks, Temper. All good up top.
France's 2nd try.
All right.
The scrum half stepping up again. It's a tough angle for Drouin, but she's
stay
more than
connected.
capable of landing this. Doesn't quite pull in enough. Good as the tries have been for France, Ireland have been the authors of their own downfall in some ways.
Completely. A lot of it's been Ireland's ill discipline or unforced errors that have been given France
Up on the ball and back.
territory within the Irish
And
within
they
the Irish
didn't
half.
change anything here. Let's take a look at it.
And how
Could have been close.
do we get you to look that?
Heel sweep. Heel turn.
Okay, thank you.
All good. So.
And they're enjoying what they're seeing so far.
Perfect. Thanks, Temper.
Cronin.
Ireland going deep again.
And Sansu returning it again. Considine took it well. Flood. Moved on by Hogan. Mulhall. Stacey Flood. Riley. Just about gathered by Adele McMahon. Riley.
Thank you, Toba.
Cronin. Knocked on. Another scrum for France. Another error from Ireland.
Yeah, Katie.
Katie O'Dwyer frustrated.
Here you go.
Always a difficult ball to take, being put out in front of you that close to defensive line. We saw Gail Hermé there coming quite hard off that line.
We good? Yeah. Let's go.
Ireland have lost 5 of their last 7 games away from home in the TikTok Women's Six Nations.
Is he on for an injury or not? Are we going? Chase him off.
It looks like another tough away day. But if they can cut out the mistakes, then they have some chance.
Bind!
You get the feeling Greg McWilliams wanted to see a performance. He kept faith in the same 23 because he wanted to give them another chance. Or just a chance to play together. Philippon had support, good support from Laurens, who was tackled into touch. Good cover from Ireland.
Excellent work there from Nicole Cronin and Aimee Murphy-Crowe.
Let's go, Thomas.
I think at times it's people, players can forget the use of that touchline. It can be used as an extra defender. So it's really important to be aware of your surroundings. So understand you're that close to the sideline. Great support from Nicole Cronin to force that player over.
And Aimee Lee Murphy-Crowe knew exactly what she was doing there. She knew she probably couldn't get her into touch herself, but knew if she could just hold her for that second, Cronin was going to get across, which she did.
Exactly, and that comes from experience.
If we can try keep the Irish medics off, they every time I turn around, they're wandering on.
Well, if players need treatment, they have to come on, surely.
Good. Good. Number screen 5.
I'm great to answer back a referee when they can't hear me.
Okay, time back on. It's okay, there's a gap, you can shift. The gap is good.
Jones. The line out has been an issue so far. Can they get it right now? Oh, it's stolen.
Great steal there by Hermé.
Fantastic steal.
Great reading of the ball.
Sansu.
It's okay.
Drouin tries to get a curb one in behind. It's an awkward enough bounce. Considine makes it hers, then knocks it on. It was a tough one to take for Considine, to be fair. She did get across, and while Ireland remain under pressure, I think that was going to be a try if Considine didn't get across. What a steal that was.
The timing there by Gail Hermé, just to get up to literally pluck it out from front of the Irish player.
You're 5. We're checking. Don't worry. Let's go. We can set up.
That's a good point raised by one of the Irish players, and we actually only noticed it on the replay. There was Considine tackle in the air before the ball came to her.
In the line out, yes.
I'm just looking for positives. Perhaps her 6 handling errors tells its own story, doesn't it?
It does really.
Crouch. Bind. Set.
Sansu feeds.
Advantage, tight angle.
Nagier, Sansu, the bouncer through. Cronin getting back and covers well.
No advantage, scrum penalty.
3 scrum penalties now for Ireland, with inside their own 22.
We're here. Okay. Scrum angle. You're welcome to.
Bonnet was chasing it down. Cronin had to get across, and she did.
For me, she's straight enough to win the dominance.
Covering by Nicole Cronin.
But I'll stay on this side.
And they're going to the corner. And the home crowd love it in the sunshine.
France are obviously feeling the momentum is on their side. Good attacking platform 5 metres out.
Nothing in the air, please.
Well, they're now on 2 tries, and I guess maybe they're thinking if we can get the bonus point try early. Well taken by foul. Sansu comes in. She wants to play it, but it's still with the forwards. Wales did very well in the maul against Ireland last weekend in the attacking maul. It looks like France are doing the same this week. Are they over?
Short.
No.
It's available there.
Sansu screaming at the assistant referee. She says that Irish players aren't rolling away.
Okay, time off. Side it going down, no clear collapse, and then okay, perfect tempo. We're coming up to you.
So, under the instruction of Clara Monarini, we're going to go to TMO Ian Tempest.
So we got on-field decision try because we have a grounding.
Looks like
a try to me.
Yeah, Forliani.
Just getting the footage, mate. Are you seeing this?
Yep.
Yeah, we need to see this again. Yeah.
So she's short in that view.
Yeah, we're looking at this next one, aren't we, mate?
Forliani.
This one we want to see.
Okay, she's lifted it and she's grounded it. Are we happy that we can award this try?
She's not bound in yet, so I'm happy that you may award the try, yeah?
Her 9th TikTok Six Nations try and a 3rd for France today. They're now just 1 short of the bonus point.
She broke away. Try.
Friday does her best to argue it, but the referee doesn't want to know. It's a 3rd try to France and their dominance continues.
Really strong ball there from France, really patient. If you look back at that clip, you see Romain Menage at the front of that maul, working out nearly as the captain, as the steer. She steered that maul. It's not the nicest place to be, but it's really important. She drove that maul towards that try line, fighting through the Irish defence.
Okay, over. Thank you. Sorry, Clara, I moved away a bit too soon there. I knew you had it.
There is a bit of a breeze. Again, just a little bit off target. I do think it's worth reminding ourselves that not only are France going to the World Cup, but they would have expectations of possibly winning it.
Oh, completely. Look, France are aiming to at least finish top 4, top 2 of the next World Cup, so they'll be using the Six Nations as a strong development for that. Be interesting here now if Ireland will shorten their kick just to get more pressure on the French defence. Not long Sansus as much time to clear.
It's certainly shorter. It's well taken by Hermé. That's a good tackle.
Me, please.
It's on the French side. Sansus. Considine. Riley. That's good footwork.
Big tackle by Fon.
Yeah.
Quickly not.
Riley. Cronin. Well taken by Sam Monaghan. Sonny Bill Sam, as I heard someone call her during the week, because of her offloading ability. Here's Cronin. Riley. McMahon, that was a really good offload, and Jones surges.
Not held. Put her down.
Flood filling in a scrum half for a moment. McMahon. Higgins on the go again. Had that try chalked off earlier in the game. Riley. McMahon again. This is better from Ireland. Playing with a bit of tempo, a bit of purpose. Jones.
Filling through the phases here nicely, Ireland.
Okay.
Riley, Flood. Lovely step. Jugang, we know she can carry. Riley. That was a very good take. That's risky, but it does work out. It's Higgins again. Spilled, Cronin looking on as Flood grabbed it, it went forward. That was better from Ireland. I know it has ended with an error, but the referee is looking at something, I think.
Good, yeah. So we're going to penalise that lift, even though she put it down, and she's still gone past horizontal. Time off.
Sorry, can we just watch the offside?
Okay.
Phase play there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Safety.
Referee playing a good advantage, I think it's fair to say there, and what she's referring to there is that the player was lifted, and even though she wasn't dropped, she was still lifted above the horizontal, which is still a penalty.
Okay, time back on.
And that's why you can see it there. You can't lift the player off their feet like
Off
that.
the ground. And look, it is a difficult one here because there's a size difference also. But you can see the tug, the lift. You can't go with that force.
Menage, who you've had your own history with.
No.
She was sent off a couple of years ago for will I say loose tackle on you?
I suppose, yeah, loose tackle, but look, she's a really, really skillful player for France, a real playmaker for them.
I don't feel uncomfortable, but the ARs will get it.
They really need to watch their discipline here and can't be giving those pictures to the ref.
I got you.
Now Ireland get a line out. It's something that hasn't really functioned well so far today. But maybe they can control alt delete themselves and get going again.
You can imagine France will put up the pod here in defence. Just put pressure on that hook.
O'Dwyer having a word with Jones. What's it to be? Ireland have taken their own line out. That's a start, and it was a good take by Friday, but they've lost us, unfortunately, and France will go on the counter-attack. Menage.
Advantage over.
Really good fight.
Gained really hard meters there. Sansu back to Drouin.
Good now.
Aimee Murphy-Crowe. Great handoff by Aimee Murphy-Crowe.
Rock now, no hands, no hands.
Riley wants to get her hands on it. Sam Monaghan getting involved a little bit. It landed off. Oh, what a piece of play that was by Flood. Good break. Here's Higgins. She's got support in Mulhall. Gives it to Mulhall. Goes a little bit loose. Riley grabs it, but diving on it there for France was Vernier. And France get it clear. Considine. I appreciate that there has been errors, but Ireland have improved a little in the last few minutes. They're playing with a bit more purpose, a bit more intensity. But what a hit, what a tackle that was by Vernier. He used to play tennis, but then took to rugby. You can see why.
Completely. Really strong in contact.
Well taken, Hermé.
Over. Using what's going back.
It's good resistance by Ireland.
Really good small defence.
Sansus, it's spilled. Drouin. France beginning to make an error or two. And then Ireland make one themselves. Ball cannoning off Sam Monaghan there. She had no chance of taking that. Sansus. Out wide it goes from Berthemieux. More fine running from Laurens. Hermé. Thuyer.
Push back, please. Advantage is over.
Sansus. Helped on by
Strong
Vernier.
tackle.
Play on.
Sansus over the head of Drouin, but Philippon was waiting behind her. France caught a bit of a break there. Philippon, brilliant stepping, brilliant work. Drouin, Cronin tackles her, but it's now foul. Foul, spills it more than passes it, but it's still with the French. Sansus, Vernier, Menage, this is brilliant again. Banet still going somehow. Banet pumping the legs. Mulhall got there, but France go again. France looking for the bonus points this early in the game. Take a look. There was a carry there from Joyeux. But again, France just transferring that ball around so quickly at such intensity.
The French offloading going just seems seamless at times. Always having support players flooding those channels.
My on-field decision is a try. I think there is grounding. Can you just confirm whether it's held up first?
Yeah, no problems, mate. So on-field decision try. We'll see what evidence we've got.
Yeah.
Well, let's have a look.
That's one.
Cronin bravely standing up there, but did she do enough?
It's up, that's down there for me.
That looks like it's a
Downward
try.
pressure.
Just go slow, mate, please. Don't rush this.
Yep.
The other angle again, please.
Looking for a first ever Six Nations try. It looks like she has got it.
Slow, 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 slow.
That one there.
This is our best angle, so I'm just going to slow it down, Aimee.
Okay. So initially held up on that. This is the one.
Try, yes or no, Ciara?
That looks like a try to me, but again, I don't have the qualifications of a referee.
Okay, I'm going to go back to her. Yeah. I'm going to go back to Elizabeth, yeah. Yeah, Aimee, I'm going to come back to you.
Okay.
I've got no compelling evidence to overrule your on-field decision, so stick with the try.
Perfect.
A fourth try for France. They secure the bonus points and will most likely get the win. The second half looks like it could be a long half for Ireland and the supporters who have travelled in their numbers, to be fair.
Obviously, Ireland are questioning about their own penalty advantage and the time frame. It's really important that when you get that option that you use as much as you can.
Drouin, she's been unlucky from these angles so far.
Thanks. I know I'm a forward, but they seem to be quite difficult kicking positions.
There's a bit of a swirl in the breeze. Has she caught that one well? No, not quite. So can Ireland respond before half-time? Fair to say this game, from an Irish point of view, was never about winning. It was about producing a performance. And they still have time to show some sign of life, some sign of positivity. Cronin, deep again. Too deep. Drouin clears, but Ireland will be able to keep that one alive because she didn't catch her kick brilliantly, but it bounces back to her.
And she receives it again.
She's like a Jedi, the ball just seems to find her as opposed to the other way around. Considine tries to run onto this, that bounce is really awkward. That's a good take though by Aimee Lee Murphy-Crowe. Riley. Jones, Riley, Friday. Just about kept it. No, she didn't.
Thank you, sir. This is it, yep.
Friday, the only player in the squad today that played 4 years ago in France.
Let's go.
And that tells you how much change there has been. The encouragement being shouted. Now, will France play this, or will they just burn up a few seconds and then kick it to touch? They've already got their bonus point try.
I imagine France will get every opportunity to play that ball.
Well, that heavyweight clash of France and England on the last day, everyone looked at that when the fixtures were released and said that could be the Grand Slam decider. That remains on.
Crouch. Bind.
Yes, Katie. Pulling down the latch on that side. Yes, Katie.
Sit.
Yes, Katie. Yes, Katie. Yes.
Sansu feeds. Now, will they play or just kill it dead? They're going to play. Drouin.
Also the back, we're going to play on from that.
Good work. Laurence. Sansus. Drouin. Good offload in the tackle once again by the French. That's the fullback Boulard, who made hard yards. Foul. Foul still going with a little bit of support.
Excellent leg drive.
To the narrow side. Once again it's Boulard. It's spilled. Ireland have it. Now will they play it or will they just be happy to get to half time? It looks like they're going to play it. Riley. We're taking a risk. It's a risk that pays off. Considine. Wall protecting it for Riley to come in. Riley driving on is O'Dwyer. Riley trying to find a way through was Wall. Higgins, Jugang. Jugang so powerful. Riley. It's not an overly clean pass, but it's still on the Irish side. That's a really good offload. And here goes Aimee Lee Murphy-Crowe. Does she have the support? What skill by Aimee Lee Murphy-Crowe.
Tackle!
She has to release.
No, thank you.
Sam Monaghan presents it. McMahon.
No!
There was an arm on her neck there, but it more kind of slipped up than anything else. Ireland get the penalty.
Onside.
France offside.
Never onside.
And here's the coach looking on. Annick Heraut, a bit of a French rugby legend. Ireland will go to the corner, and obviously they will be able to play. They will be able to go for the line out. What a break from Sam Monaghan. What an offload as well. And then it was followed by a great run by Aimee Lee Murphy-Crowe. Started as a fullback at Clanwilliam. She now plays for Railway Union.
Yeah. She's on the middle, yeah.
Jugang trying to stay on. She'd be a huge loss if she was to go off.
So that's the middle. Oh, sorry. That's okay. That's you here.
Niamh Jones, her 5th appearance in the TikTok Six Nations.
I don't think they know yet. Time is still off.
Katie O'Dwyer having a word with her.
Can we chase her up? Okay. Hold it, Precious. Full. Full. Time back on.
Jones. France steal it. And it's grabbed by Bartholomew. And Sansu says, enough is enough. Let's take a break. Ireland have struggled against the French, who have already secured the bonus point. 4 tries, 4 different try scorers. Ciara, it's been a tough day so far.
A tough day for in the Irish shirt.
Tough for Ireland. France 26, Ireland 0 at half-time.
Well, Ireland overpowered by France in that first half. Claire Small and Hannah Terrell have been watching, what has been a very frustrating first half to watch for Ireland, Claire.
Yeah, it's been such a frustrating game. Like, we have seen a few glimpses of Ireland doing good things, but the majority of what we saw in that half were unforced errors and a real struggle at set piece as well.
The coach was hoping to see improvement this week from the defeat against Wales. Has he seen it so far, do you think?
On that basis, what we've seen in the first half, not really. As Claire said, there have been some positives to take from that. I thought our scramble defence at time was excellent. In particular, Aimee Murphy-Crowe has been particularly good at that. But our discipline is killing us, and you know, we've given away penalty after penalty after penalty. France are just taking energy from that, and they're putting points on the board. Yeah,
the penalty count was high last week, high again today, but the performance has been error-strewn so far, as we can see here. I mean, a catalogue of mistakes in that first half.
Yeah, there have been so many. There's been knock-ons from kicks in the backfield. Fielding of the ball hasn't been good. There have been knock-ons there, which are uncharacteristic of the likes of Lucy Mulhall. They've been letting the ball bounce as well, and obviously for this, which could have been Ireland's try at the start of the game, we see Dorothy Wall just holding the French player back, and that's frustrating. That could have changed the game for Ireland going forward.
And like that one in particular, it's unnecessary. You know, it's 3-0 at the time. Ireland get a try on the board. It gives them that renewed energy, that sense of confidence that they're in this game, and all of a sudden it's chalked off. France march up the field and they score a try of their own.
And when mistakes start to creep into the game, it's just hard to try and stop cutting them out, isn't it? One just seems to follow the next.
It is, and I think part of that is that, you know, France are putting a lot of pressure on Ireland. France are making a lot of good decisions, and they're getting themselves into the right place. But it is just frustrating seeing Ireland, like here we saw Lucy Mulhall with the knock-on. That's not normally what we see Lucy doing. Yeah. She's normally solid under that high ball. So, yeah, there have been a catalogue of errors there which have just not let Ireland get into the game.
Yeah, and from that knock-on, from the resulting scrum, then came France's first score, and Ireland hardly put a finger on them.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is a first phase try. Huge pressure on the Ireland pack, and from there, Sansus works her magic. We have dummy runners all over the place, and France moved the ball from one side of the pitch to the other, and we barely get a hand on them. And you know, that's a bit of a soft tackle at the end there, but we need to be getting up in France's faces, you know, putting tackles in there, cutting out those runners and not giving them the space and opportunity to move the ball.
And it all came off, obviously, a very dominant scrum platform there too. But at the end here, I mean, the defensive tackle should have put her into touch probably.
I think Aimee probably should have got that player into touch. But it does come from that dominant French scrum. We saw that they were really pushing Ireland back. Brittany Hogan wasn't able to get off the scrum as quickly as she potentially should have. The 9 then gets away from her and there's an overlap. So it's frustrating that it is coming from set piece. We knew that France were a big physical side. We know that their scrum and their line out are solid, and we've seen that in the first half.
Yeah, set piece was disappointing for Ireland last week, and today again very frustrating to watch.
Yeah, and what we're seeing with that dominance in the scrum is that it's taking away our ability to actually rush up in the defensive line. You know, we have to wait, we're under pressure, we're scrambling every time, and that's affording France the time and opportunity to pick their passes, pick their offloads. And as you see here, line out just hasn't gone to plan. There's been a couple of overthrows. So every time we have the ball in a really good opportunity and we've done a really good job of turning France over, we just give the ball back to them needlessly.
And it's the set piece which seems to be the issue for Ireland. The technical parts of the game are the parts that they really need to work on.
Yeah, and I think part of that is to do with the fact they've only had 3 camps together. They've played a match last week. They've been in camp for a couple of days this week. They haven't had time to properly gel together and to work on the timings. The likes of the line-out, there are so many moving parts there. There's the thrower, there's the lifters, there's the jumper, there's deception within that. It's really difficult to get that going and have it perfect, especially when you're coming up an opposition like France.
Yeah, look, there's been some small improvements that we have seen. So last week, Wales targeted our maul defence, and we have seen slight improvements there. We've kind of nullified France's attack a couple of times. But even then, when we've done that, we've allowed the 9, Sansus, to be able to get the ball away. So they still have that gain line attack as opposed to keeping the ball within that maul and potentially forcing a turnover.
I suppose this Ireland team is obviously on a journey, as you say. They haven't been together long and had many camps, but it is very demoralising going at half-time knowing that you're already a bonus point down.
It is, and I suppose they're going to come out in the second half with nothing to lose. They just need to go out and throw everything at it. I would imagine that Greg McWilliams might make a few changes at halftime. I kind of hope that he does, and hope that he gives some of the players on the bench a chance to go out and test themselves against the likes of this French team. So we'll see what happens whenever they come back out onto the pitch.
As a player, you go in at halftime knowing that you haven't performed and that things haven't gone your way. So going into the second half, you're just trying to put in that performance, rectify those mistakes and try and make an improvements, maybe try and get on the scoreboard and lift the team as a whole. But again, that impact from the bench, I think will be needed just to bring that energy and that renewed sense of confidence. But it is all about just performance now and rectifying a few things, because I think the result is beyond them.
Yeah, well, let's take a look at some of the French tries. Second score came straight off a scrum as well.
Yeah, so here we're seeing a dominant French scrum. The 9 and the blind wing both go open. Dorothy Wall at blindside flank, she goes to go open as well, and it just means that Sansus has an easy run in. She has to do a bit of work there, but she is a world-class player. We've seen her throughout this game just sniping and making the right decisions.
That's just there's a defensive mistake there, obviously.
It's unfortunately just a poor defensive error. And look, Sansus was nominated for World Player of the Year last year. We know that she's threatening with ball in hand and she does like to snipe. And when you leave 5 to 10 metres of space there on a blind side, she's going to take that. And you know, is that the inexperience of Aimee Riley there, or was it the wingers, you know, opportunity to stay there? I don't know, but there was a mix-up, and you know, France aren't going to turn down those opportunities.
And this, their third try, as you say, Ireland's maul defence has been a lot better, but couldn't keep them off the scoreline here.
Yeah, the initial maul defence is really, really well, and I think it's Fall who ends up being short on the line. But there seems to be confusion about whether it's still a maul at this point or whether it's a ruck. And Forlani, I think it is just as quick as to react, picks up the ball and scores the try. Much to Ireland's dismay.
Yeah, that's frustrating for Ireland, because they did hold them back in the maul for a good while there. You see really good strength there from Medusa Fall coming through, and then obviously the pick and go from Forlani there to get the score at the end. But really frustrating for Ireland that from the set piece again that the scores are coming.
Yeah, and then obviously the 4 tries down. It's you know, as you say, you've got nothing to lose in the second half. And can you expect the coach to make some changes, or do you think he will just stick with what he has to give them another 15-20 minutes perhaps?
I think we need to see some new energy coming in off the bench. I think the likes of Catherine Dean could make a difference and kind of settle the ship a wee bit at 9. I suppose other changes we might want to see is the front row. We only saw one of the front row getting taken off last week, so there's still 2 girls sitting there on the bench wanting to go out and prove what they can do. So I think it would be good to see some changes there as well, to give them an opportunity. They're going to be chomping at the bit to get out onto the pitch, so we'll see what McWilliams does come the second half.
Yeah, well, let's take a look at the 4th try first of all. Again, Ireland be disappointed.
Yeah, we just get a little bit narrow on this short side, and France are renowned for their offload and carry. Our tackling also in the front line is poor, and Cyril Banet manages to skip through a few tackles and takes 3 or 4 to take her down, and then you know the French tight 5 take over there and just power the way over the scrum. And because we're constantly going backwards and missing these tackles, you know, despite the best efforts of Nicole Cronin and Niamh Jones there, we're completely being bullied up front, and it's putting us under massive pressure, and we're just constantly going backwards. And you know, it's difficult over 80 minutes to keep soaking up that pressure. And if something doesn't change, France are going to continue to score tries. Yeah,
it's difficult, just as Hannah says, to continually have to defend during a game.
Yeah, and I suppose we saw that last week with Ireland against Wales. In that second half, Ireland barely got to attack. They were defending for the majority of it. That pressure does tell on you. That ended up forcing Ireland into penalties, and then eventually a yellow card. Hopefully that doesn't happen today. Hopefully Ireland will be able to turn it around at half time. But I think whenever you are in defence for the majority of a game, it is going to take its toll.
Yeah, how worried will they be when they think back to what happened in the last quarter of the game last week?
Yeah, look, hopefully they're not focusing on that. You know, it's a new game, new challenge. I would be just going into this half trying to start afresh and just trying to put in that performance. You know, there have been bright spots and some players have really stepped up. I've been really impressed again by Sam Monaghan. I think she's hugely physical. She always manages to free her arm for the offload. You know, we thought she had set Eve Higgins away. Emily Murphy-Crowe got a great break off her, and similarly Murphy-Crowe has been excellent, her scramble defence, and she's really trying to get Ireland back into the game. We just need to, you know, get them on the ball more. Like, Murphy-Crowe has been excellent, been done numerous tackles in defence, but she's at her best when she's in attack, and we need to get her the ball.
Yeah, we don't want to see a winger obviously being her defensive prowess. We want to see her with ball in hand, but she was particularly impressive in defence the first half.
She was, and we know that is a strong part of her game as well. It's something that maybe doesn't get highlighted as much because her tries are always so good. But yeah, we're seeing here, obviously she makes a cover tackle and then gets straight back up to make the next one. And that was needed here. France looked like they were potentially scoring again there. So her defence has been impressive.
As you said, we don't want to see her defend as much as this. You know, we want to get her into a bit of space with ball in hand, like we did towards the end of that second half, getting into that French territory, and then from there, hopefully the rest of the team can keep up with her, you know, and create some opportunities from that. And, you know, if we do see Bevan Parsons second half, I don't want to see her defending. I want to see her attacking.
Yeah, so, OK, what does the coach say to his team then at half-time coming out for this second half? Because something has to change. They're going to have to try and get themselves back into the game somehow.
For me, I think it's just cut out the unforced and unnecessary errors. You know, if the one thing that they fix is the handling errors, you know, they'll have much more possession of the ball. They'll stop giving France that energy, and they'll actually have an opportunity to score. Because we've defended so much, we haven't had the ball in hand, and we haven't even been in France's 22 very often.
Yeah, when they've had opportunities and have penalties to kick into France's 22, the kicking hasn't been particularly good either to try and give them a platform to build on. Yeah,
the kicking has been quite poor, and it's just not allowing Ireland to get that territory and into the right areas of the pitch that they'd want to play in and that they'd want to attack from. So I think that's something they'll want to look at. I don't know whether they've decided that it's Nicole Cronin kicking. I know Stacey Flood has a good boot on her as well, so it might be that she comes into that role and starts kicking for touch.
I'd actually like to see that if we're within the French half, you know, instead of kicking for a line-out which hasn't been particularly strong for us, that maybe once or twice we kind of try and catch France unaware and a couple of quick taps.
Go, yeah.
You know, we saw that last year with Stacey Flood when she came on at 10. She took a couple of quick taps. She's a great passer. You know, opportunities happen. France aren't expecting it. They might be a little bit tired from backtracking and defending. Gaps open up.
And if there's any positive to try and say, well, look, let's go out, try and win the second half. It's 0-0 going into this and see what we can do.
Exactly, yeah. See it as a clean sheet. We've seen some glimpses of what they can do in attack. They just need to keep possession. They need to get rid of those unforced errors, and they need to get some momentum going into this. I think if they build a few phases and they build up that momentum, we could see something good from Ireland. But obviously, they've got a tough half ahead.
Yeah, I mean, France look a very well-drilled side. Is this simply, they're semi-professional, obviously? Is it semi-professional against amateurs? Is that just clearly what we're seeing this afternoon?
It's not just that. France are a very experienced side who have been together for numerous years. You know, we have a team that is building, that have a lot of players that are within an international setup for the very first time, you know. France in general have a much higher population. Their depth is, you know, huge at this moment. Like, you're going to see that with the firepower they have on the bench. Sansus, one of the best nines in the world, and Bourdon's not even in the squad. So, you know, it's not just that. It plays a part. It's not just the professional or semi-professional amateur side of things. There's a whole host of factors. But, you know, for Ireland, they just have 40 minutes to go out and prove that they are better than they've just shown in that first half and what they shown against Wales last week.
Yes, and whatever happens, this is obviously vital building experience for a lot of these young players, experience what it's like to play at the very highest level in the Six Nations Championship.
It is. Like, obviously, as Hannah said, there's a lot of girls coming through. They don't have many caps under their belt, and this is going to be, they want to see progress. that is what Greg McWilliams has said he wants to see through each game. We want to see them building, and we want to see those young players learning from each match. So hopefully we'll see that in the second half.
OK, let's hope so. Back to Oisín and Ciara.
Thank you, Stephen. Ciara, what can Ireland do in the second half to make this a more positive day than it has been so far?
I think Ireland need to look at just reducing their unforced errors and just taking that extra step and just watching that discipline, just reducing giving possession back to the French.
An unforced error. Parsons has come in, by the way, and France get territory again. And the first half, well, it was mistake strewn from Ireland. The second half so far, the same, even though it's only 35 seconds old. Haney is in. Considine off.
Haney getting her very first Irish cap today.
She was excellent in the interpros. Baben Parsons, one of the most exciting talents in Irish rugby. Greg McWilliams said as much during the week. She didn't start it, but she's in now.
Stronger scrum by Ireland.
Drouin. Another fine pass. Boulard goes wide to Banet. Banet put into touch. Good cover from Ireland. France moving at that pace again. Laurens, Boulard, Banet. That is Amy Lee Murphy-Crowe, by the way, who has been replaced by Parsons. No, Parsons has replaced Considine, actually, I think.
Yep, just hold it, hold it.
Looks like they're reviewing that tackle on Banet. The shoulder just slip up on the contact.
So officially coming up to you, Temper. Okay, TMO check. Got a potential high tackle by Ireland into the touchline here.
Yes.
And this is it here.
Okay, we've got a...
So they drop your height when you're that close in contact.
Let's see if we can get that point of contact.
Well, she was falling, but to be fair, Parsons probably still needed to be a bit lower.
Just to drop. And then it slides up.
Agree, and we also have 14 stepping back inside.
Okay. Have we got a clear view that it hits the shoulder and then rides up?
Can we freeze point of contact?
Yeah, on the shoulder, innit?
Yeah, definitely shoulder, then up.
Okay, so for me, Tempo, we've got indirect contact.
Yeah.
On the shoulder, then does right up. Plus, we've got the tackler there. I'm looking at a penalty only.
Yeah, agree, mate. PK only.
Happy. Okay. It is high. It does slide up high. Penalty only.
It could have been worse for Ireland.
Yeah, that's why there's mitigation. Yep.
Again, look, we have the mitigating factor.
It's a high tackle, so we're going to have a penalty for you. Yeah. Tempo, just for clarification, that happened in the field, not out. Okay. It's a high tackle. Okay. Dangerous tackle. Closer.
The penalty
Right
for
by the
France,
touchline.
and they'll have the chance to go into the corner. They're looking for their 5th try. Duran not quite draining that for all it was worth.
No, I thought she would have got more onto that.
I didn't see it.
Look, it gives more, I suppose, attacking platform for that backline to run into.
It was caught in the breeze, so I suppose it made it look like it was crooked, even though it wasn't. That's a break from Thuyer. Sansus. Good take by Banet.
She's just fallen over.
Banet bouncing back up. Sansus. Foul.
Strong tackle and fall. Good double hit.
Sansus. Drouin. They'll go wide again. No, they won't. It's carried by Hermé. Sansus, Drouin. Put pressure on the 9 and 10. That's what you were saying at half-time. Landeloff.
Play on, just come through the middle.
Sansus. The route blocked by Sam Monaghan. Aimee. Aimee, who looked like she had all the time in the world there. Landeloff. Sansus. Sansus again. Aimee waiting. France somehow keep it alive. Sansus. Foul. She's so strong, foul.
Excellent tackle by Del McMahon. Nicola Friday driving foul back.
And now being driven back is Aimee. But again, France able to keep the ball in play. Sansus tries to stab it through. It's a clever attempt. Ireland get the cover across. That's Mulhall. There was certainly a high arm. I don't know, would we call it a high tackle? Ireland offside. France get the penalty.
The whistle's gone, thank you. Green played it.
Sansus with Mulhall covering. Well, actually, to be fair, that's potentially something.
Potentially it was a trailing arm. She didn't wrap. You know, so it is that grey area.
What would you like, Gail? Tempo live. There wasn't enough in there for me to go high tackle. Gail, I
Wasn't
need
enough
a
force,
decision,
not enough
please.
connection.
Gail.
But there was
Thank you.
a connection. There was.
Yes. Are you happy, Tempo? Okay. I was happy live, so I'll take that one.
It's a little bit too high. Drouin goes after it. It goes loose. Trying to grab it there for France was Vernier.
Let it come, Lou.
It's on the Irish side. Riley, Jugang. Left behind by Parsons, then regathers. It's a knock on.
That was my view. Let's go, girls, come on. Let's go, come on, let's get set.
The way she turned, I thought maybe it didn't go forward, but well, it did. It did.
Next shot, square, Luke, scrum. Let's go, Linda. Yes, let's go, form up. Let's go.
France look to keep this in, I'd imagine. They're just close to that line with a strong scrum.
If Ireland can survive this without conceding, that would be a big boost of confidence. They've been pressurised since the start of the second half. Most of the second half so far has been played inside the Ireland 22, yet France have not breached the line.
Just gone sideways.
Menage, Sansus ready to take it over. It's off the referee.
My bad. We go scrum.
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 Really good contest there at scrum time.
Okay. Let's go, please. Let's go.
France with the put into the scrum. Ireland, strangely enough, may have caught a break there because it did look like France had the numbers. And
Looked like a strong line being ran there, so.
Crouch. Bind. Set.
Menage. Sansus ready to take it at any moment. She does. She goes again. Sansus spotted the gap and went through it. And France have their 5th try. She has her 2nd try.
So much pressure for Ireland to absorb there in the last 8 minutes. France are knocking on the door for the last 4 or 5.
Well, Ireland kept them out for as long as they could, but eventually the pressure told. And it wasn't just about strength. Sansus with a very clever finish. A little show and go.
Thank you. Not for me. The East just cleared it.
Potentially an accidental offside.
Accidental, but if you get away with it.
I don't think Bartholomew meant to do it, but it was an advantage, and she did block the space for Sansus to run into.
It was like momentum sheared, and she sheared with that momentum. She couldn't envision Sansus stepping in, so you have that area as well.
Drouin. It's a good kick. Ireland travelling the long way to Toulouse. It will be an even longer trip back.
It wasn't clear enough to call that.
Nicola Friday is arguing about that potential accidental offside, and well, you can hear Aimee Barrett-Theron saying it just wasn't clear enough. Sansus. Riley. Into the hands of Parsons. This is what we want to see. Parsons on the wing in space and punching holes in France. Riley helped on by McMahon, trying to drive on his wall. Riley, Mulhall, Jugang. Riley. Hanny. Flood. Mulhall.
Tackle.
Riley. Flood. Just evades Amy Lee Murphy-Crowe. Just a little bit too much in front of her.
I was
trying to force that pass.
Keep an eye. We'll get you the numbers.
Well, it looks like Ireland are on their way to consecutive losses in the opening 2 rounds for the first time since 2007. France just far too strong, far too skillful, far too good. Mulhall. Duran did enough to stop her. Flood. There's a good carry from Sam Monaghan. Riley, Nicole Cronin, they keep it in hand. Helped out by Flood. Friday. Aimee Lee Murphy-Crowe. Slipped through, gained ground. Riley, Jugang, Sam Monaghan. Riley. What's out wide? Oh, that's a really good take. I think that's Hogan. What skill, and a great offload as well. Higgins, Parsons. Riley trying to dig it out. Ireland keep it alive. This is good stuff. Cronin. Hanny. Riley. Good take. Moved on by Wall. Brittany Hogan was clamped but kept it alive. Riley. Higgins. Riley. Good take, good run by Hogan.
Off the foot.
It goes loose, it's back on the French side. A little bit of a miscue from Touye, and Ireland take advantage, and it's Friday. Riley. Stabbed through by Flood, chasing up is Aimee Lee Murphy-Crowe. Sansus back to mind the house. France have it back, but that was better from Ireland. Put a bit of pressure on, played around with it a bit. Drouin to clear. Mulhall counter-attacks. Parsons trying to negotiate heavy French traffic. Riley just about taken. Ireland keep it alive. Now it's Hogan. Another good offload. Higgins.
Comes off, please. Get out, 14.
Riley. Monaghan. Backwards it goes, and France get their hands on it. France turn it over, then lose it. Ireland through Nicole Cronin. Riley. Flood. Mulhall. Her progress halted by Philippon. Riley looking left, looking right, going to Hanny. Riley. Cronin. Friday. Riley. Higgins.
Once is over for the knock-on.
Riley. Jugang.
Sure.
Jugang still going. This is really good stuff from Jugang. Riley. Cronin. Flood. Flood takes a risk. It's a risk with the reward. Aimee Lee Murphy-Crowe.
Really good passage play here from Ireland.
Hanny. Riley. Riley tries to sneak through herself. Cronin. Flood. Higgins. Higgins goes. Higgins for the line. Higgins gets the try. She was denied one in the first half. She is not denied her first Six Nations try in the second half, and Ireland get the reward they deserve.
Really strong passage of play there from Ireland. We're patient in their build-up and their attack.
Perfect. Yes.
Some green shoots.
Thanks,
and a really well-worked try.
Can I get some
It was
power,
frantic at
please?
times, but they stayed at it.
Yes.
They kept going.
There's a lot of off the ball, like after tackles.
For me, the timing is okay.
Really, every time.
That was risk,
They know
but it
what's
was
going on, they're
rewarded.
dunking us.
Great work from Aimee Lee Murphy-Crowe.
Very, like, it is
As
Yeah.
Stephen, Claire and Hannah were saying at half-time, that's where you want to see Ireland's wingers attacking rather than defending.
Exactly.
And when they got the chance, they took
Sorry,
the chance.
number 10.
But Higgins, the centre, did well to finish.
All good, sorry.
Higgins playing with Railway Union, but started life with Barnhull.
So team for me in the picture.
And this is a more than kickable conversion for Nicole Cronin.
The timing of the tackle is good, but if it's anything later than what it is, then we deal with it. So trailing AR, you're all over it.
Just didn't quite catch it right.
Time off. Time off.
Ireland needed to show something positive in this game. I think that's the first moment that they really cling on to as France begin to empty the bench. And what a bench they have. Their coaching staff are saying in the lead into this that they've got a 36-player squad, and honestly, you could pick 15 from that 36 and it would be a strong 15 either way.
Exactly. You're going to see the French experience here now. Come on, goes out this game, and what a bench to be able to bring on.
Now, can Ireland follow that try with another? Tremelier, the player of the decade. It's not bad when you can bring the player of the decade in. That's it.
Good.
Ireland were able to call on Bevan Parsons from the bench.
Good. Time back on. Yes. Yes.
Jugang, good hands.
It's gone back.
Is it still alive? It is. Ireland also emptying the bench. Catherine Dane among those coming in.
Take him back.
The scrum half from Enniskillen. That's a good take in tough circumstances by Hubert. Dane. Well taken by Hanny. Dane. Cronin, Flood, Higgins. Higgins and Philippon colliding there. Higgins is still down. Cronin. Mulhall on the burst. This is a really good run by Mulhall. Sam Monaghan took it. Kept her head. Dane. Friday. There's a bit of zip about Ireland in the second half. That was almost lost by Flood. I think France have turned it over now. They have.
But then there's an off on here.
Ireland get the scrum. Much better from Ireland in the last few minutes.
Really strong passes to play here from Ireland, really running onto that ball. Sees a good pace put onto the passes.
What a run that was.
Yes. Let's say. Time off.
Well, Ireland's scrum does need to improve. They know that. Hannah O'Connor not long in, already receiving treatment. Let's hope she's okay. Like yourself, Hannah O'Connor, a teacher.
Right?
All the best players are teachers, aren't they?
I don't know if many would agree with that, but yeah. Hopefully now Hannah can continue here.
Good. Here we go. Okay, water off. Thank you. Okay, time back on.
Dane to feed.
Crouch.
Dane actually spent some time with the Leinster Academy squad as part of a physiotherapy internship. Also undertaking a PhD at Trinity College. Dane won't get to this. France drive Ireland off it. Sansus with the break. Ireland's scrum travails continuing. Philippon had players wide. Maybe that's where she should have gone. But France keep the possession. Tremelier.
That's gone forward. You've got 2 penalties. Where's Gail? 2 penalties. Scrum penalty or the backline offside. Backline offside is here. Scrum penalty is back there.
Second penalty, the backline is given away for being offside off scrum time. It's just an unforced error. It's self-discipline. So necessary advantage has been given to the French team here.
Tremelier,
sure.
Her 40th Six Nations appearance. She scored 228 points. But that is a poor kick. Ireland playing with a bit of purpose. Mulhall seeing a French wall and just running at it. Dane, Cronin, Flood. It almost bounced kindly for Aimee Lee Murphy-Crowe.
Get out, 14, get out. Remember 3 on the 5, please.
It is a French line out, but Aimee Lee Murphy-Crowe, smart thinking, just got in the way, didn't allow them to take it quickly. France making another change. Desay is coming in. Chambon coming in for France. Only her second Six Nations appearance. She replaces the very, very experienced Sansus, who's had another fine day.
Sansus is instrumental in the French attack today. Our box kicks really putting the pressure on the Irish back line.
And she's played off by the band. Good take by Ferrer. Tremelier helped it on to Berthemieux. Chambon. Philippon. No way through for Philippon. Chambon. Goulart knocks it on. Dane. Ireland have the advantage and now will take the advantage.
Knock on.
Another try or two would make this a far better day for Ireland. They've been outclassed, there's no doubt about that, but with the try they have scored, and even the one that they didn't, they've shown a little bit of something, things to build on, things to work on.
The last 10 minutes has been quite positive for Ireland in terms of their defensive set, but also their attacking platform. They seem to be running onto the ball at pace now, making hard lines. They've stopped going lateral across the pitch, so they have some positives to take from that.
Crouch. Bind.
Dane. French scrum power. Too much for Ireland to handle. And they get the penalty. The scrum's an issue.
It is. You need to be able to win your own ball, and France have identified the Irish scrum as an area they can attack. Really strong scrum there from the French. Again, look, using their advantage. Look at the attacking platform they're now receiving.
Is it a fixable issue? Can you just have a particularly bad day? Well, that's 2 bad days, I suppose, for the scrum. But
it seems that Ireland is really looking locking out that scrum, really single that height. You heard there, Aimee Barrett-Theron said for standing up, you need to stay, you need to keep in that fight.
Well, the captain Hermé is being replaced by Julie Anneret. It's a good take. Chambon is taken down there by O'Connor, and Ireland get the call. That's better.
Really good defence set there from Hannah O'Connor at that maul, going through that middle.
Let's go, ladies. Let's form up, please. Here we go. Come on.
This is very easy to say. It might not be so easy to do, but given the troubles they've had even on their own feed, would Ireland just be better off just getting that ball in and getting it out of there as quickly as they possibly can? And can you do that?
Quick scrum, literally in, hook out. Ireland won't want to stay in a fight too long.
You need we can start bringing you closer. Just hold the weight, please. You need to stay in line with your hooker, please. That's fine, we must be close. That's fine. To the left. Line up. Thank you.
It's your own ball now.
Crouch.
Lovely. So it has to come down to you.
Bind.
Down binds. Lovely, Christy.
Set.
Dane. Ireland try and get it out. And they do. Hannah O'Connor. She's a warrior. She's never afraid to take on tacklers. Jugang, that's a really good take because it was an awkward enough pass. Dane.
Tackle.
Ruben. Dane back to Cronin. Friday. Dane. Cronin. It's knocked on. France have the advantage. They may not need to take it. They might be able to finish it from here. Laurens. Chambon.
Good attack from Darty-Wall and Hannah O'Connor. Just drive the French back.
We have a loose pass from Chambon. That's really good play. pass out of contact by Thuye. Bane. Chambon, she couldn't unclamp herself from Flood, who just grabbed onto her leg and tried to play it now as Tremblay. Chambon. France driving forward again. Chambon. Can they finish it off? Vernier, there's plenty of space for Philippon, but she hands it off to Boulard, who scores. 2 tries against Ireland last year for Boulard. She's on the score sheet again today.
Quick thinking there by Tremelier, just to quick take that penalty quickly, put Ireland on the back foot in defence, allowing France opportunity to spread out wide.
Good break by Tremelier. Vernier to Philippon, who might have taken it on herself, but in fairness, she saw Boulard on her left and said, you know what, if I give it to her, it's a guaranteed try.
Thank you.
France make it to 40. There was just so much space for Boulard to run into there. For the second game in a row, Boulard scores for France. Crossed the line last week as well against the Italians in Grenoble. Chambon. Knocked on by Mulhall. Oh, the referee says back.
Backwards.
Bit of luck there. Fatigue beginning to really strike Ireland now, but not Hannah O'Connor, who's off the bench. Dane the same. Parsons took her eye off it.
The unforced errors from Ireland, they're just giving possession back to the French. Just an area they really need to tighten up on, just not taking the eye off the ball in that last pass. Just focus on catching the ball first, and then you can decide what to do with it after.
Well, you said in your BBC Sports website column during the week, Ireland can't let ill discipline stand in their way against France. I assume what you meant by that, well, you did mean, was that they couldn't make errors, they couldn't give away penalties, but they've done all of that.
They have. It's unfortunate. It's an area that they said they needed to tighten up on from the Welsh game, and just the thing with discipline. Discipline often is it's self-inflicted. You have to. It's personal discipline as well. It's something they need to look at now as a collective.
Set.
Chambon feeds.
Standing up, angled in.
France play it Philippon. Loops a lovely pass around to Bane. And we will come back.
Forward pass, we're going back for the scrum.
France had the play there because the referee called advantage, so even though there was a forward pass, it is French ball.
Back to another scrum penalty here.
Tight angle in, Lucy's standing up.
Twice now she has been penalising Ireland for standing up at that scrum. We can be painting those pictures for the ref, because once they get that idea into their head, that's what they'll always look out for. She really made sure she found touch this time.
You can have the line. Thank you.
Well, sometimes you learn from a defeat. From the Irish point of view, you would hope that they have taken learnings from today. I've no doubt that they will. Duma. It's a good line out. It's well taken. Menage.
No tackle. Stay referee, no.
Bane fills in scrum half temporarily. Tremelier.
It's a good tackle.
Chambon, Tremelier with the cross fielder. It's got good hang time. The bounce, does it suit France? No, it just got away from Laurence.
Knock on by blue. Knock on by blue in goal. So
It was a good idea. It was actually a good execution, but just, as Donal Lenihan would say, the bounce of the rugby ball.
Thanks, Precious.
Really good vision by Tremelier there, just to see that the backfield wasn't being covered. Again, look, just the bounce of a ball.
When you're ready.
The goal line drop out for Ireland. France coming back at them in a blue wave. Menage still going. Menage driving.
Ripped in the tackle.
Excellent work by Nicole Cronin there.
No hands, blue.
Ripping that ball in attack from Menage, no easy feat.
Counter-attack is good now.
Still on the French side.
Don't play.
Chambon deciding what she's going to do. Goes short dish to Jacquet.
Blue knock on.
Ireland get the scrum.
4 and 12. 4 and 12. Nice, Nicola.
No surprise, Sansus, the player of the match.
Deserving player of the match, Sansus. As I said, she was the playmaker, she was the conductor of this French performance.
Perfect, thank you.
Well, since Ireland
Okay, here we go.
got their
Time back on.
try, I don't think they've been in the French half, let alone 22 since.
See here, Darcy Wall moving to 8.
Linda, come forward.
And again coming in at flank. And then you bring coming on for Stacey Flood.
Bind.
Enya Breen says that Niamh Briggs and name the other player are her heroes, are her icons.
Coming in on the angle.
I'll give her a tenner later for saying it.
You must earn the turn.
Ciara Griffin and Niamh Briggs, her icons, the players that she really looks up to.
What would you like? What would you like?
Enya Breen, she's a young player, but they're like an old head on young shoulders.
Still only 22. Cronin. The French crowd once again finding their voice.
This is you. Okay. Thank you. Perfect.
Hubin.
Thank you.
That's better from Ireland's line out, which has not been perfect today. Hannah O'Connor having received from Dane. Ireland try and drive into French territory.
Lost it now.
It's a little bit loose. Dane left it off for the carrier. Dane. Hannah O'Connor. Dane. Higgins. Referee has to step out of the way. Another fine run by Higgins. Hanny Jugang uncharacteristically loses it. I think that's just pure fatigue. Jugang is one of those players who has to be on the field for Ireland. They have it back. Parsons. Dane. Monaghan. Dane. Hanny. That's a good pass. Receiving it well was Dorothy Wall.
No hands, Blue, no hands.
Parsons, she can do it all, including scrum half. Monaghan backwards to Cronin.
No hands. Let's go green.
McMahon.
Ball is out.
Hannah O'Connor. Ireland still inside their own 10-metre line. Dane, Cronin, Higgins.
Get out 20. Counter-ruck is good.
Ireland just about keep possession, but they are really pressurised by France. Taking and going is Hubin. Jugang.
Number 7, get out.
Jugang has that burst of pace. She was good at track and field as a youngster. Cronin. Ireland get the penalty.
Tackler, that's why they're on the ball.
France not rolling away.
Sorry?
My lifters.
Okay. Can we do it at the line-out? Oh, okay. Yeah. Time off. Let's push hard for the last few minutes, team.
Ireland just drawing their breath before they go again. I'm sure that wrapping is necessary, but it's also coincidentally good timing.
It is. It gives Ireland an opportunity here now to, I suppose, reset, have clear clarity on what they want off this line-out, and give clear clarity on what attacking options they can have. But again, first you have to win the line-out. So I suppose I need to focus on that execution just at the lift.
A table that makes happy reading for France, granted early doors. That France-England game at the end of the TikTok Six Nations.
Penalty green.
At the moment looking like it could be the decider for everything. Cronin.
The crunch, as they always call it, isn't it?
That's it. They've seen some good play today. Hopefully they'll see a bit more from the team in green, who took their try well. Their try was actually very well worked.
It was a well-worked try, good team try. Very good finish from Eve Higgins, just dancing feet to get it across those last few defenders.
Hubin. The line-out has improved in the second half. Penalty Ireland.
Straight off your feet.
And Dane plays it. Here's Cronin. That's a good take by Wall. Dane. Cronin.
I'm okay to keep going.
Stepping back inside was Breen, but it's an error.
Legitimate attempt to get it. Knock on. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Yes, she's good. Yes.
Tough day for Ireland.
Disappearing off the bind. Stay straight. Yeah.
Dane will have to put in. For just a second, it didn't look like Philippon was the one who knocked it on first, but she was. So it's a scrum for Ireland. What can they do with it?
Crouch!
Let's go, long bind.
Bind!
Long bind, Linda.
Stay in it. Set! Nah, I think you went earlier and you didn't take the hit. Okay.
Hopefully Ireland can end on a high. Ireland eager to score.
Crouch!
Let's go, Linda.
Bind! Get the point. Set.
Dane to feed. You get the feeling they'll try and get this one out as quickly as they can. Dane on the narrow side. Here's Mulhall. Great work from Mulhall.
Over the shoulder. We're good.
Dane. Sam Monaghan. Dane. Cronin. McMahon. It's lost, and it's lost forward, and it's French ball, and that will be that. Although I think France will want to play on if they can. Well, they've kept it alive, so Ireland will have the chance to attack again, granted from very, very, very deep. Parsons. Philippon got to her, then also helping out with Jacquet. But it is fine work from Parsons. Dane. O'Connor helped it on. Dane. Cronin. Knocked on again. Jacquet. Good work by Anare. In support is Ferrer. Boulard.
Play, back.
Not the cleanest of passes, but Tremelier keeps it alive.
You can't
Penalty
dive
for
over.
France.
You cannot dive over a ruck.
Just a little bit of over-eagerness, a little bit of indiscipline. You can't just dive off your feet like that at ruck time and knock the ball out.
Yes, it's time.
You can try, but...
They'll try, but then...
France have decided that enough is enough, or have they got the penalty and will they play on?
Penalty here.
It was a penalty, yes, so they will play on.
They'll take the line out and their attacking option.
Duran can afford a smile.
Move it all the way over. Yes, thank you.
Thomas. Really good take by Ferrer. France want to play it. France want another try. Chambon. Jacquet. Jacquet still going. Monaghan halts her progress. Chambon.
Tackle made.
Calfaoui with a really good break forward there. Tremelier keeping it alive. Chambon tries to weave through.
Tackle now, good rip.
Ireland have got it back, and they'll go again. McMahon. Higgins.
On the ball, on the ball.
Boulard says, well, Boulard didn't tackle high there according to the officials. Here's Wall.
Off your feet. No blue.
Penalty for Ireland.
Off your feet first. You're killing the contest. Yep. Okay. Tempo, we're coming up to you.
We're going to the TMO.
We have a dangerous tackle. We're going head-to-head contact.
Yes,
Let's,
we are,
put
mate.
it up on the
So
screen.
blue 15. Yeah, I'll stick on the screen now.
We're having a look at
So live,
a possible infringement by Boulard.
We are also aware of the time. Let's see if we can freeze it on the point of
I'll
contact.
show you a better angle and freeze it. Here, freeze.
Freeze. Sur le contact, tu...
So
Contact with the head.
Head-to-head
there's
contact.
direct head
Well, I have to say, even a couple of
See if we can
seconds
freeze
ago,
it
when
for
I
us,
did
Tempo.
suspect that it was
We're
high
going to
for
do the other
Boulard,
angle,
didn't
the
see
last
that
angle, and freeze it on the
collision
last
of the
angle for you,
heads.
Aim, because that's the best angle here.
I'm sure it's
So there's
accidental, but the
your points
onus
of
is
contact,
on
yeah?
you to make sure you don't
what
go
we see
over the
there, we
top
do
of the
have direct
tackle, to
head
make sure you
contact.
don't
So we're going high tackle.
lead with the
But
head like that,
the
basically.
tackle isn't a really good tackle technique. They're bent at the knees. They're bent at the hip. So we're mitigating from a red to a yellow card. What do you think? Yep, yep. Tempo, are you happy with that?
Yeah, I agree with that, mate. Yellow card.
Okay. So we got the mark here. That was 15 blue.
It will be a yellow card for Boulard.
Okay.
Ireland will play against 14 for the rest of this
Will
match.
you just get the mark for me?
And maybe, just maybe, that will create the little bit of space that they need to get a second try.
It's all the way down here. Okay, so 15 blue.
Well, you really did have to slow that one down to see it, but it was the right call.
It is. You have to control your momentum going into that tackle area. Head-to-head contact.
So it's a high
She's
tackle, but your technique
has
was
a mitigated
good.
down
You
from
bent
red
the
to
hips
yellow,
and the knees,
so
we go from red
she's on
to
the lucky
yellow.
side.
Okay.
She's accepting of it, to be fair, so we can play on.
So Cronin will try and get up the park, and Ireland will have the line out.
It's their sharp team, they want to play, so here we go. One step for me, please, Linda.
Tough moment, but
Thank you.
one to learn from.
Thanks, Clara.
Hooban couldn't collect it as it came back down to her. It's out of play. And that is that. It's a tough day for Ireland. Eve Higgins got a great try, but that is about the only positive that they can take. France get the win. France get the bonus point. France absolutely irresistible today. Ciara, what did you make of it?
Yeah, look, a really strong French team, good solid performance, much improved performance from last week. I think, in terms of they reduced their unforced errors from 19. But look, on the flip side, Ireland will look at that too. They need another honest review process here. A lot of unforced errors, discipline again an area, second week in a row. Discipline is an area that needs to be tightened up with this group. Does that change camp to just working on the unforced errors for the next game? I think the unforced errors, they're things you can correct. It's, take a step closer for that pass, making that split-second decision, leaving that breakdown. There are things that can be corrected, that can work in, that you can help improve your performance. Ireland with a really tough loss here in France. 40 points to 5, the final score.
Well, Ireland well beaten this afternoon, Claire and Hannah, but was that a better, more positive second half from Ireland, do you think?
I think we have to take the positives from it. They definitely came out in that second half and showed us a bit more and showed us what they're about. I think we got to see them with ball in hand a lot more, which was great to see. And obviously for Higgins' try, we were seeing the ball went through so many phases. It went side to side, and it was some really enterprising rugby. So I think there definitely were improvements, but there's a lot to be built on for next week.
Yeah, definite improvement in the second half, but against a team that already had the match sewn up, to be fair.
Yeah, and look, we were hoping for a better performance, and we did see that in some aspects of the game, but our unforced error count and our penalty count was still far too high. And that's something that really needs to be rectified, because it just gives the other team that energy and that opportunity to score and go against you. And we have so many good attacking players on the pitch, but if we're constantly giving away those penalties and giving away the ball through unforced errors, we don't have an opportunity to show that.
Yeah, where did you see the most improvement, do you think, in that second half performance from Ireland?
It was probably the ball retention. So the fact that they actually had their hands on the ball for more of the match. Obviously it wasn't a huge amount more, but it gave them an opportunity to attack and kind of show us what the attacking shape was like. I didn't think we saw any of that in the first half. So seeing them put the ball through the hands, seeing them get a little bit of momentum and get some go forward was definitely some of what we saw as an improvement. Yeah,
but 23 turnovers conceded are not pretty stats.
Oh, absolutely, and it's far too high, and they'll be looking to go into that Italy game next week and keeping that number significantly down. But 23 times you've given the ball to France and said, come at us, and defending for long periods of time is tiring. Your decision making becomes, poor, and it then leads to that high penalty count. And France just are relentless. They do not stop. They're led by Sansus and Drouin, and they just continuously come at you and put you under pressure.
And the set piece again didn't fire today. 4 lost lineouts, 2 lost scrums. That's obviously an area that Ireland are going to have to try and improve on.
It is, yeah. It was something we picked up on at half-time, and it continued through the second half. We saw their scrum was being put under all sorts of pressure. I'd like to know the difference in weight between France and Ireland, because I know the Irish pack definitely aren't a big pack. I don't know if it's something that is going to be able to be worked on and to see good improvements throughout this tournament. I think it's something longer term that we'll need looked into. It's difficult to make changes to your scrummaging in the short term. And then with the line out, obviously it's all about practice. It's about practice, and it's about testing yourself against defence.
Yeah, and the player of the match, deservedly so, scored a try in the second half too.
Yeah, look, Sansus is just an incredible player. She brings pace, energy, tempo. She dictates the play. She likes to continuously run. We saw that she ended up with 2 tries today off the base of the scrum, and she is just constantly an attacking threat. And even when she doesn't look to go herself. She is sucking in Irish players because of her threat, and that creates space and scoring opportunities out wide for her teammates. But yeah, she's an incredible player, and there's a reason she was nominated for World Player of the Year last year.
And playing off a very dominant pack today as well, Claire.
Yeah, she is. Like, the scrum was going forward there. She had a wee bit of work to do, but yeah, like whenever you have that scrum dominance, it's just such a good platform to play off, and she is that world-class player, and she's making good decisions all across the pitch. It's not just off the scrum. Out of hand, her kicking was really good today. She was getting grass, and she was really putting the back three under pressure. So a lot of the decisions she made were really impressive. On
the positive note for Ireland, they at least got their score. Eve Higgins, who arguably was Ireland's best player of the game against Wales as well. Another great performance today.
Yeah, look, Eve Higgins is a really well-rounded player, you know, and she's well able to attack and defend, and she was on the end of a wonderful team try, it has to be said, where we maintained and held possession for a long period of the time in the French 22, putting them under pressure. You know, for once our handling and our passing was quite good, and our decision making, and a little bit of footwork and magic there, and that was deservedly so for her to get that try, her first try in the Six Nations.
Yeah, that's probably the one mistake we've seen Santos make, missing that tackle. Obviously, we saw Eve's footwork there was great, just to get in, put Santos under pressure and get in under the post. But yeah, this was really the one opportunity that Ireland had. The rest of the opportunities that came up, they weren't able to go out there and put the passes and execute as they potentially could do. So that's frustrating, and that's something that Ireland will want to look to improve.
But the conversion under the post then Ireland missed, which was absolutely criminal, wasn't it?
Yeah, look, that's disappointing. I'm not sure what happened. It seems like there was just a missed or poor connection on it, because we know that Nicole Cronin can kick the ball. She scored a lovely conversion out wide against Wales last week, and I don't know, was it just a lack of concentration or just poor connection on the ball? But like, Ireland are going to need every single point in every match, and we lost an easy two there.
Yeah, and here's just a look at the conversion. Not one for the, I was going to say VHS collection, but it's the download collection now. Look, it's one of those things, I suppose.
Looking at that there, it doesn't look like she got much follow through in it there, which is, you know, pivotal in terms of ensuring a good strike. But yeah, maybe she'll be looking at that and thinking about that over the next week. But against Italy, we need to be scoring those.
It's a learning experience, though, isn't it? And you know that every point is going to be crucial in these games, and you'd like to think something like that won't happen again. Lapse of concentration, perhaps.
Yeah, I think there was just a wee bit of complacency. She was almost directly in front of the post, so we know that she can kick those. She kicked a lovely touchline conversion last week, so we know that she has a good boot on her, but that's the sort of thing that we can't be doing against these other teams going forward. And look, it obviously wasn't important today. France cruised over the 40-point mark with their sixth try of the match.
Yeah, look, we knew, you know, that coming into this match they were going to be physically dominant and try and bully us and then move the ball at pace and use the width, and like the impact of their bench, to be able to bring on a former World Player of the Year in Jessie Tremoulier, you know, to pull the strings at 10, and is incredible to have, and it's something that Ireland haven't got in their repertoire. But just the skill on show and their passing was at an exceptional standard today, and you know, Ireland can look at them and learn a lot from them, because they didn't have too many uncharacteristic turnovers.
Yeah, and I suppose on this, Ireland were in this position in their 22 because they failed to exit. We saw them passing the ball about multiple times and just not getting boot to ball. They knocked it on. France got the possession back, and then they do this. So it just shows you that if you're not executing things against a team as good as France, they're gonna kill you on that. Yeah, and France was clinical for anyone who's just tuning in. Obviously, Ireland have been well beaten by France in the Six Nations, and they scored 4 tries in the first half, which we can take a little look at now. And I mean, they weren't all just simply created by France. Ireland were kind of the authors of their own downfall as well, weren't they? Yeah, as mentioned by Claire there, that last try we just saw came from an Ireland mistake, and similarly in the first half, you know, an Ireland mistake led to that French scrum. And then off first phase, they moved the ball coast to coast and score in the corner. You know, and they did that all game. Sansu scores off the scrum twice as well. And
It's just really frustrating, particularly when, you know, that scrum is being dominated. There's not much that backline players can do in that regard with the scrum, and they're constantly under pressure, and there's no reprieve, and that's what good teams do. They keep you under pressure for the entire game and force you to actually make your own mistakes.
Yeah, like France did the simple things right. They did the basics really well. They passed, their passes were out in front. Their accuracy was really good, and they're just keeping the ball in hand. That's how they scored their tries. I suppose they're just drawn defenders. They know that their basic skills are what's going to allow them to then show some flair, get the ball out and get those tries.
And is France's performance is something Ireland can look at and say, listen, that's what we can do if we can model ourselves on just doing the simple things right and cutting out the mistakes?
Well, absolutely. The basics at the end of the day give you opportunities to move the ball, and just today we weren't good at the basics. Our handling was poor, our passing was poor. You know, we did not help our teammates in that, or they didn't help their teammates in that regard, you know, and it led to these unforced errors and coughing up possession. And again, against the top teams in the world, you can't do that.
But there were flashes of optimism for Ireland, and it showed that they were able to build at times through the phases, and there was some good play.
Yeah, there definitely was. We've seen a couple of players standing out, the likes of Aimee Barrett-Theron. She always seemed to make a bit of ground whenever she had her hand on the ball. Sam Monaghan again stood out pretty well this week, and we saw some decent ball carries whenever we did have ball in hand, and that was a great take there from Brittany Hogan, and a lovely offload as well. Do you know, they are moving the ball quite well, but we're just not consistent enough with doing that, and it just means that we're going to be giving the ball back to the opposition, and it's frustrating to watch.
Yeah, and obviously long term there's a big job on the hands of the Ireland coach Greg McWilliams, but short term, will he simply try and just target an improvement and perhaps 2 home wins if possible?
Yeah, look, all eyes will turn now to the home game against Italy next week. They'll be looking for a much improved performance on that. As I said, if they can keep penalty count down, if they can keep the unforced errors to a minimum, you know, and keep ball in hand for quite a while and get it to those players like Higgins and Murphy-Crowe, who had excellent games with limited ball opportunities today, you know, there are opportunities there.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. Thanks for your company, Claire and Hannah, this afternoon. Lots more sport to look forward to across BBC Sport NI over the coming week. We have more rugby for you this weekend. The Bulls against Ulster in the URC is on the iPlayer from tomorrow. Ulster losing this afternoon. On Monday night at BBC Two, the Niffle Highlight Show is at 11:15. Big week for the Northern Ireland women's football team with a World Cup qualifier. Then to lose Ulster in the Champions Cup is on BBC Sounds and on the iPlayer. Cliftonville Linfield next Saturday. But today, it's been a tough afternoon for Ireland in the Six Nations Championship.